Today I'm going to cover RunLoops. Apple seem to have made a real mess of this with their documentation, so I'm going to look at a definition, how you can see a run loop using Xcode, and a real-life example. Let's dive right in. Wonderful! Apple have a threading guide with RunLoops. RunLoops are part of the fundamental infrastructure associated with threads. Okay, fair enough. A run loop is an event processing loop that you start to schedule work and coordinate the receipt of incoming events. Okay, I understand incoming events, but the receipt... The purpose of the run loop is to keep your thread busy when there's work to do and put your thread to sleep when there is none. Run loop management is not entirely automatic. So why haven't we used them before? And there's a diagram? This doesn't make sense. Run loops are really fundamental to threading in iOS. So fundamental, in fact, we can see the run loop, the main run loop, using the debugger in Xcode. So if we take a look at by thread, there you have the main application and the main run loop. But it said in the definition we had to do some work. So let's take a quick think about that. So I'm assuming you know something about GCD, and the main thread has a run loop attached, which is useful because if you've read that definition from Apple, a run loop is all about events and deciding when to make events sleep or not. And if we're doing UI work, it should be on the main thread. And here I've got a timer in a couple of cells and it's just counting up. But when I interact with this table, just scroll, only one of them keeps ticking up. They're both on the main thread. So what's going on here? Well, just having it on the run loop isn't enough. You need to specify, to keep the timer running, that the mode is common. And that's because when you're using the run loop, when you're using the thread, the run loop handles these events, and when the interaction with the user is paused or not. So you need to tell the system that you still want this timer to run when the user is interacting with the screen. So each thread can have a run loop, but the only one which automatically has a run loop attached is the main thread. And that's useful because usually you only need a run loop on the main thread because it's handling events like timers and user inputs, which kind of makes sense. Run loops aren't that tricky. Like the rest of threading, we usually just need to worry about the main thread and background threads. Here we need to worry about a run loop on the main thread rather than sub-threads, and we need to think about which mode the run loop is in case we want to perform something a little bit beyond the norm to do with user interaction. If you're thinking about, can a run loop outlast the life of a thread? The answer to that is in the description. I hope you've enjoyed the video and maybe see you next time.